Film actor, director, and writer Charles Spencer Chaplin was one of the most original creators in the history of the cinema. The first great screen comedian, Charles Chaplin's enormous talent allowed him to have complete control over his projects and become a silent film icon. The son of English music hall performers, Charlie Chaplin was born 1889 in London. Chaplin and his brother began working on the stage at age 5. He was a popular child dancer and worked in London venues, eventually moving up to acting roles. But Chaplin's childhood was generally difficult and impoverished. His father, an alcoholic, abandoned the family, and his talented mother spent her life in and out of mental hospitals. His parents eventually separated. Charlie and his half-brother Sidney spent periods of their childhood in the Lambeth workhouse, where the poor and destitute were housed. Life here for Chaplin was harsh and degrading. Barely able to read and write, he left the workhouse school to tour with a group of clog dancers. It was an inspired decision that would turn young Charles Chaplin's life around. From the grim life of the Lambeth workhouse, little did he know he was on his way to becoming one of the most creative and influential personalities of the silent film era. Chaplin went on to have the lead in a comedy act, and by the age of 19, he had become one of the most popular music hall performers in England. In 1913, Chaplin was touring the United States when he was chosen by filmmaker Mack Sennett to appear in the silent Keystone comedy series. He created the role of the Little Tramp, a lovable, shabby dreamer with a brushy moustache, bowler hat, and cane. Chaplin was soon directing his own films, and he became an instant star in The Tramp. The little fellow, as Chaplin called him, is a remarkably winning combination of cockiness, sentimentality, and slapstick. Over the next years, Chaplin refined the character, achieving fame and fortune. He wanted to control all aspects of his films and would become one of the first movie makers to have absolute power over his features. Chaplin went from one studio to another in search of greater control over his work, finally co-founding United Artists in 1919 with D.W. Griffith, Douglas Fairbanks, and Mary Pickford. Chaplin was knighted in 1975 at the age of 85 by Queen Elizabeth. The honor had been proposed before, but was vetoed over concerns of Chaplin's communist views and his moral behavior in marrying two 16-year-old girls. Chaplin had a lifelong attraction to younger women. His affairs and marriages made for salacious headlines, most notably his disastrous union with 16-year-old Lita Gray, producing 2 sons. Their bitter divorce saw Chaplin pay Gray a then record-breaking settlement, on top of almost $1 million in legal costs. Chaplin continued to have a string of affairs and relationships with his leading ladies. In 1943, he married Una O'Neill. Chaplin was 54, O'Neill had just turned 18. Their marriage proved happy and lasting and produced 8 children. Their last child, Christopher, was born when Chaplin was 73. Daughter Geraldine describes life in the Chaplin household as vibrant and privileged.
Oh yes, always. Oh, we were always aware of how lucky we were, and that our father was the most famous man in the whole world, and that our mother was the most beautiful woman in the whole world, and that there was nothing but advantages.
In more than 80 movies, he became an immortal artist for his clever portrayal of man's comic ability to pick himself up in hope that his next experience would turn out better. No motion picture actor or comedian has captured and enthralled the world like Charlie Chaplin.